She's here for support.
Hey, those desserts didn't last. They disappeared.
How many did you eat?
I only got one. There was only one left.
You made a plenty.
A plenty. And he got one.
Oh, they brought 2 huge trays in.
Yeah.
And they're
And
gone.
by the time I got there was one left.
Where's mine? I need to
No,
know next time,
disappeared.
Sal.
People kill for this.
Oh, they were
What
amazing.
makes it people in the neighborhood. My wife loves to cook. People ask me, where's the best Italian restaurant? Because I'm originally from Italy, okay?
Yes.
I was born and raised there. So was my wife. I was 17 when I moved here. My wife was 20. And we obviously cook Italian, And being from Connecticut, from the Northeast, there's a lot of good Italian restaurants up there. So we moved to Myrtle Beach. It was beautiful here. I mean, it's like going back home to Italy
Paradise.
because of the climate and minus the mountains, But as far as Italian restaurants, it's a little lean over here, to say the least. So people ask me, where's the best Italian restaurant? You're Italian, you know that they're good Italian. I tell them it's my house, but it's not open.
Your kitchen. Not open to the public.
Right, exactly.
What were the lemon cakes that everyone was raving about? Something about a lemon or something. One of the desserts maybe had lemon. I don't know if they were raving about it.
That's Portuguese.
Uh,
Yeah, this is Chavez. Are you familiar with the donut man here in Myrtle Beach?
No.
yes.
Okay.
Yes.
He's Portuguese, and he makes them. Now, I don't know if he has them all the time or not, but they are really, really good.
Shout out to the donut man
No doubt.
over on the south side of Myrtle Beach.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
Yeah.
Really nice guy.
Okay.
Yeah, he's a really good guy.
What's his name?
I don't know what his name is. All I know is
Sal
the
doesn't
donut
name names. Sal doesn't name names.
He'd have to kill you.
Hey, hey Fulton.
Hey, Dr.
Good to
Scott.
see you.
Yes,
We got
sir.
a special guest.
Yes.
Sal Coppola in the house today.
Welcome, Sal.
Thank you, guys.
Does Sal stand for Salvador?
See,
See, yes.
Now, Sal's a pretty interesting character. He's been a patient over Advanced Medical out
Okay.
of private practice for a number of months. And there's a lot of impressive things about Sal. Okay.
Let's hear it.
He's smart. Okay. He's smart. He can talk. That's why he's here today. He
Okay.
can talk. The most impressive thing is that he's got this classy, elegant gangster swag.
I saw it when he walked through the door. You could just see it. He represented every word of it. It's like, hey, you know this guy? You
Hey,
need to know this guy.
He's got it. And one of the things that really set it off, I think it might have been the first, maybe second time I met him. He said, I'm going to do what I'm going to do. That's what my definition of a gangster is. He's going, hey, you know what? I appreciate this. He said, I appreciate Trump. I'm a fan of this. I'm a fan of that and this and that. But ultimately, I'm going to do what I'm going to do. And ultimately, he's made some great decisions. You and your wife are getting healthy. You just got it going on.
yeah.
And again, most impressive is your gangster swag.
Actually, growing up, when I was little, I used to talk all the time. Okay. And you would think that it was like that all the time. It wasn't. I remember my father wanted me to be a lawyer. And his thing was, and I'm very proud because I was the first one to actually graduate college in our family.
Congratulations.
Thank you. And I made sure that all 3 of my kids did the same. But my father used to say, you got to be a lawyer because you don't shut up. You're going to bore them so bad in a court that they're just going to tell you, as long as you be quiet, you won the case. So, but I think moving to the United States as a 17-year-old and not knowing the language, leaving all my friends behind,
Wow.
not knowing the country, not knowing really anything. It was a big adjustment. And I kind of became a little bit more withdrawn as far as being, sure myself, but not talkative so much. But I attribute, the reason why I like to talk and I like people. I love people. I'm interested in people. I listen. As much as I talk, I do listen. Is by 35 years of umpiring baseball. Okay?
Here in the United States?
Yes.
Okay.
Never knew anything about baseball, never seen the game, nothing. Absolutely nothing. First time I saw a baseball game was when I was 17 years old. I was lucky enough to have 3 sons and very, very good athletes. They played, not in a professional level, but they did play in the league. And my son came home one day and said, Dad, I want to play baseball. I'm like, oh my God, now what? Okay, because my dream was always for him to play soccer instead, because I did something about that. Well, went to sign him up. They want to have people to help, somebody to help out. And I says, I can help you as far as organization, but I can't. I know nothing about the game. And I help organize, helping out, organizing things, teams and stuff.
Now, where was this at? Where were you at?
In Connecticut.
In Connecticut, okay.
I says, I got to coach. I got to be part of the game. I love the game. I fell in love with it. So got into books and the old VCRs. Used to go to a lot of clinics. Professional players. They would give clinics. Professional umpires. That's how they made the extra money going around in the off season to do clinics. So I participated in a bunch of those, and I fell in love enough to the game that I coached for a while, and then I got into umpiring, and I like that even more.
Do you still do it?
I gave that up 2 years ago.
Okay.
I was umpiring here.
Okay.
Yeah, and the highest level that I umpired was college, and the Cape Cod League, which is a really good league. That's a lot of professional players that they play there. Professional players to be.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And you call behind the plate?
Yes.
Balls and strikes?
Well, not all the games. I mean, we rotate.
Sure, of course.
I've worked a 2-man system, which is the most common system because they don't have to pay 4 umpires or 3 umpires.
So you were a little at a loss this past week when the World Series ended.
I'll be honest with you. I haven't watched a professional. I give up because of what's going on in sports. Okay, it tears my heart. But
what's going on in sports? The whole political scene inside of sports is tainted.
Well,
it's a shame.
I feel this way, and I can only explain myself in this matter. I don't knock. If you believe in certain things, well, that's your belief. Either I respect you or I don't respect you. That's my prerogative. But it's your right to protest, to do whatever you want to do. But I know one thing, that when I worked for a company, I couldn't go to work and kneel down and say whatever while I was being paid when I hit the clock. Okay? And I couldn't do what I wanted to do. So what makes that any different? I don't have a problem with them saying we are going to do something about the inequities that go on, this and that. Fine, it's their right to do that, but not on my time.
That's a good way to put it.
Myself is a fan. I'm paying for you to be a professional athlete by buying tickets, buying your goods, and this and that. And I have the right to say, I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to watch it until you clean up your act, because you are on my time.
Actually, it's the same thing as going to a concert and you're sitting there and all of a sudden one of them decides to get political when you're paying them to sing.
You're absolutely right. But the way I look at it is this. I go to a concert or to a ball game to get away from politics.
Yeah.
That's my time away from all the garbage that goes on in our everyday life.
you should be able to step out of politics at any time you chose to. What we're seeing, what's happening, and it's in everything. And you pointed out, especially with professional sports, which is disgusting and sickening for those of us who go there just to watch.
You took the words right out of my mouth. It's not really. It's really not even your political stance and your ideology. It's all part of our culture, but politics has become so disgusting and nasty. It makes doing something like that. It makes it where it's intolerable. It's intolerable.
And so what
it's not
do we
that
do?
It's so bad. It's just disgusting.
Yeah.
It is so bad.
But we end up blocking it out. You and I can sit there and we can watch a professional sport and not see it because we've already become accustomed to it. But what about those young minds? What about those people who are impressionable? And what about those people who make a decision because a certain player playing on a team he likes, or that's a player that they like, is wearing something? They're going to pick up that same identity. They're going to mimic. They're going to try to do the same and similar as those professional athletes. So it is having an impact on our youth today. We're old enough to oversee it, but they are not. So I'll agree with you. I'll be glad when it's gone. I'll be glad when we have our professional sports back. But I don't think it's going away anytime soon.
My question is, are we ever going to have that back?
Hey, the political scene has infiltrated every aspect of reality, including
unreal
microscopic organisms like viruses. That's how deep the political scene has penetrated our society on a global level.
Yes.
What you gonna do about it? What you gonna do about it?
Well, as Sal said earlier, he's going to do what he wants to do, and he doesn't care what they say. So I'm with you, Sal.
So I haven't watched any football.
Oh.
I haven't watched any baseball. I haven't watched. Well, I don't really watch NBA too much. I'd rather watch the college because it's more of a
competitive,
pure
team
sport. It's
sport.
not in your face type of, like that, all the macho stuff.
Yeah.
I really don't care about that.
Nah.
I played soccer in Europe. And you know what? If you did anything like that, the coach will sit you on your bench and you'll be sitting on the bench forever, regardless how good you were.
Yes.
Because what happens is, he's gonna maybe make the team suffer a little bit because his best player might not be playing, but it sets a better example for the rest of the team. So where is that going to go?
Then everybody would run over him. So that coach has to take control. He has to be in charge. And I'm
Guys,
with you.
You're missing the entertainment factor here.
Let's hear it.
I mean, you got these professional athletes. They're on a stage. They're getting paid mega bucks. They're expressing themselves. They're entertaining all the young millennials and me who want to see them put on a show and talk trash.
So you want to see it.
Well, they can't all do it. It takes a certain personality.
Yeah, but the talking trash is different than the politics.
Sal on a team, your bank account's full of about $100 million.
Yep.
And Wheaties is paying you another $100 million to be on the box. And you two get out there and you play in game with a bunch of other crazy guys. You two be the first ones to start shouting and screaming. Guarantee you. Come on, Sal.
Yeah, but
but here comes the but.
The problem that I have is when a person doesn't know anything about me, okay? You don't know me. You don't know what's inside of me. You don't know what's inside of this person, okay? And you're going to judge me by saying that I'm a racist, that I have white privilege, and you don't know my growing up, what it was about, and what my parents had to do to get where I am and what I had to do. I understand that there is a certain amount of that, okay? But you're judging me without knowing me. That's where I have a problem with some of these people.
Yeah, they generalize everything.
Exactly.
100%.
But accuse us, that's what we get accused of, but it's actually the reverse. That's what they're doing to us. So it's like eating the birthday cake and then saying, why did you eat the birthday cake? It's not your birthday. I mean, it's ridiculous, having your cake and eating it too.
What comes from the whole thing that Sal said is judging somebody.
It's the greatest country in the world because you have opportunities here that you don't have anywhere. And believe me, we could go on and a half-hour show. It's not going to do it. It's going to take a lot more because, they talk about socialism. They talk about all that. I lived it. I know what it's like. Okay? I've seen people with those ideas. Okay? I can tell them a little bit about it. I'm not smart, but I'm not stupid. Okay? So I can see that. But the thing about it is the country gives you so much opportunities if you like. All you got to do is really go out and get it. Now, I understand for some people that they're ill, they're handicapped. Those are the people that needs to be helped and that needs to be taken care of. But people that are healthy, there's no reason for them not to be able to better themselves. You know, I lived my first 8 years of my life, okay, with no running water and no electricity in the house on the farm. We didn't have paved roads, but I didn't blame anybody for it. Okay, we made do with what we had, and you learn a lesson from that to appreciate what you possibly are given an opportunity to go out and get, what you didn't have. It's there. It's there for everybody.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I have a different perspective on a lot of things.
Well, you've accomplished it. You've started out from where you were, and you've now lived the American dream.
Not because I'm any better. I feel better than anybody else. I don't.
No.
I don't feel smarter. I don't feel better. I don't feel. What I did have, I had two caring parents. I'm an only child. Okay, I had two caring parents that steered me on the right road. You know. I mean, they said that if you're an only child, you're spoiled. I hell with that shit. I hell with that because
No doubt.
Doesn't work that way. My mother used to beat me up if I did something wrong.
And then send you to your daddy.
Right.
Oh, we tell those stories. We tell those stories. We got in trouble. We were playing. We got in trouble, and my daddy beat us, and then my daddy sent us to his daddy, and his daddy beat us, and then my uncle beat me. So it was like you just get passed down the list.
That's part of accomplishing things is being disciplined.
Absolutely.
Being disciplined. Whether you discipline yourself or you're disciplined from somebody else. It's got to happen. It's got to happen or you lose. That's kind of where the country's at right now. We got it made, and some discipline has been lost, and it's really over the course of, I would say, the past 20, 30 years, 40 years, from that lack of discipline, lack of morals and ethics, and everybody having it made overall. In America, we got it made.
Yes.
It's been taken for granted, and now the pain's about to come.
Well, we were always taught growing up that an older person, you respected like it was part of your family. In fact, I know there is a lack of trying to explain it from one language to another. And in Italian, you called a person uncle.
Okay.
Even though he was not related to you. There was a way of expressing your respect, uncle and aunt, even though, I think we've lost a lot of respect. And I think the price that we're paying for having all the nice things that we do have, the extra things that we never had, you pay a price for that because now you don't feel like you need anybody else. The people don't have any more fear of anybody anymore.
That's right.
Do you notice that? And not to get into religion, but do you notice that some of the nicest people, as far as respect, are the most poorer people in the world? You go to South America, some of these people that come from South America, it's amazing the respect that they have and how close they are with their families.
That's right.
And they're poor. But as we become richer, to have more money, to have more material stuff, I think we lose that. There's a price that you pay for that. How do you fix that? You can't, because progress is part of that. I don't know.
So what you're saying is you don't fix it. You have to evolve through it.
Right.
Yeah, we got to go through it.
And with what we have going on as we started this show in our political scene, what we're seeing the Democrats do, what we're seeing the liberals do to this country, it's got to stop, man. It's a slow bleed.
It's election week.
It is election week. It is time to get out and vote. Actually, me and my wife voted yesterday. Okay? Yesterday. And glad to get that out of the way. Glad to put it on the record, knowing who I voted for, because he's going to get reelected. Because I've said this is the third show in third week in a row on this show, I have said the market has not priced Trump's not getting reelected into the market. Over the past this week, we've seen about a 10% drop. But guess what came out this morning, and guess where it was at? The GDP production for the third quarter, 33%, highest ever. That right there just put the last one over the finish line. That is going to get Trump reelected, period.
I've been trying to figure out and listening to the opposition. I call the opposition the Democrats.
Yes.
Because I don't even consider myself a Republican. I'm considering myself a constitutionalist.
Okay.
I think the greatest thing there is, what makes America what it is the Constitution. No other country has it. And that's really the difference, okay? We are a democratic republic. And as long as they're going to uphold the Constitution, we will always be great. But if my fear is that they're going to mess around with that, and
yes,
we're going to become no different than some of these third world countries where you have the very, very rich and you have the very poor and there's nothing in between.
They want to call it the living Constitution. So what this New Age agenda that you're referring to is a group of people who say that when the Constitution was written, the internet wasn't alive. Social media wasn't alive. So we have now advanced to a stage that the rules weren't set in place to cover those things. And that's really not accurate. You know, the Constitution is in place. It does cover it. And with a 6-3 Supreme Court and Trump going to get reelected, I think the Constitution's going to stay in force for quite a while. But you're right. We do have to guard against it going forward. And we've got to keep somebody like Trump, or as Trump does, in office as long as we can. So when he finishes, it's got to be the next agenda. That's how we win. When you talk about winning, it's putting those wins back to back. You put Trump in for 2 terms. You come in and put in another Republican or like-minded president. Now you're changing lives. You have kids who literally grow up and spend their entire childhood under that type of presidency. In 40 years, that's a group of kids who were successful. Okay.
World leaders.
Yes.
I also think that one of the biggest problems in this country, there's way too much money spent on a race to win the re-election. I think there should be term limit. Unfortunately, they're not going to hang themselves and vote a term limit just to vote themselves out.
No.
Okay. And that's a bigger problem, really, because from the first day that a politician gets elected, they start, their number one priority is to get, how am I going to get reelected again? Okay. It's not really working for you and me. They're working for themselves.
At that point,
right.
yes.
Right.
At that point,
I really think that as far as is going around talking to the people, instead of spending all these millions and millions of dollars, okay, have equal time on TV and talk to the people. Radio, TV, whatever. Equal time. And why should a possible senator, hope not, from South Carolina that wants to get elected, spends $100 million to get elected for one position in the government?
Hey, Rick Roberts,
makes no sense.
How many hundreds of $1 million has been spent on the 2020 election?
I don't know about the presidential election, but the state of South Carolina, the Senate race alone has now, the Democrats have spent well over $100 million.
So that's we know who that is. We're not even going to mention the name,
Right.
but we're just going to say vote for Lindsey Graham.
Right.
Well, it's a pretty close race.
It is a close race. There's a lot of close races out there.
This is the most money's ever been spent by Democrats to try to take Lindsey Graham.
So they're
down.
trying to take him out.
Yep.
It's unbelievable amount
it's
of
a
money.
hit job.
We're talking about some serious money, son.
I mean, $100 million. Do you know what they could do that for people that really needs the money?
No doubt.
Wow.
We're talking
you
about some
can't turn
serious
on-
money.
You can't turn on your internet, YouTube, or without having constant being bombarded by the same, the same thing over and over and over again.
Now you
that money should be able to be spent.
You want to hear
better.
something that's crazy? The Democrats are running spots now that talks about a guy that dropped out of the race 2 weeks ago.
Yes, I heard about that.
Bill Bledsoe. He dropped out 2 weeks ago, but yet he's still on the ticket. So the Democrats are trying to get people to actually vote for Bill Bledsoe to take away the votes from Lindsey Graham because they don't believe that the people of South Carolina are smart enough to realize the guy dropped out of the race 2 weeks ago.
Smoke and mirrors.
Smoke and mirrors. That's exactly right.
Presidential. How much has been spent on the presidential?
That you probably won't find that out till after the race because they keep pumping money.
500.
I'd say at least a billion.
A billion.
You think it's at least $1 billion?
At least $1 billion. Yep.
Well, the Republicans' war chest was
crazy, son.
I mean, it was $700 million at one time, wasn't it? It was something way through the roof because the Republicans had outraised the Democrats for funding for the presidential election in astronomical amounts. It's so far they're not even talking about it. But while we're on it, let's talk about these rallies. Trump's holding 3 rallies a day. Okay, we're seeing all these people. I mean, they are lined up. Thousands are getting turned away for these Trump rallies. And you know how Biden's doing it? Well, number one, he's not. He's staying at home in the basement. But number two, when he does go out, okay, they just pop up out of the blue and nowhere in areas to say, hey, here we are to speak. You know why he's doing that? Because they know they can't pull a crowd to those rallies like Trump is. They are trying to be deceitful as they have done in the past, and they will do in the future.
What's so deceitful about popping up?
About popping up. It's a little
embarrassing. And there's no show. But what's deceitful about it?
What's deceitful is because they can't draw a crowd. They're trying to act like they're out there in public and people are wanting to see them. And there's nobody going to see it. Everybody wants to go see Trump.
Well, you can see through that, though.
Clearly.
There ain't nobody being tricked by that, are they?
You know what? The American people who, when 92% of the news coverage is negative on Trump, you have people that ultimately gets through to them.
Yeah,
they're seeing nothing else. Okay, they're seeing nothing else. And for there to be a 92% negative percentage of media on Trump, and for them to say it's even, I say that's not accurate because I just saw this morning. They called it last election, 2016, that Trump and Clinton were even. Guess what? They weren't even. Trump won by 10%. So there's a 10% hidden majority that's not being spoken about these polls. These polls are about 10% off in my sight.
I don't see these polls being anywhere
close
where they should be.
No.
And all you got to do is look at the crowds and the people, how excited they get about Trump. Now they keep saying, well, those are Trump people, but these people don't get in the bus and follow them all over the place. It's not like, they're following a group that plays music or something like that.
Yeah, not like groupies.
So it's not what it's going on. What's going on is you have people, real people,
American people,
right,
in every city,
they show up in every single city,
in every town,
right.
In every corner. I mean, you go everywhere. You get on a boat and go out down here at Myrtle Beach on the waterway. And so it's everything Trump.
Plus,
okay, bumper stickers, everything.
What gets me also is the Democrats up to not long ago until they nominated Biden, they kept talking about old white men running the government. Is this all they got? Is Biden? That's the best they got?
That's the oldest white guy.
Yeah,
right.
Well,
somebody that's been in government for 47 years and he's basically hasn't done anything.
I love Trump's statement.
He's done a lot from what I've heard. He's done billions of dollars worth.
Well, I'm not going to accuse him because I don't have proof. But,
that's all right. The FBI does.
I heard billions. He's done a lot.
It's kind of crazy that, they'll say something and then, and it's there. It's on tape. They turned around and said, what? I didn't say that. I never said that.
Oh,
the media does nothing about it.
Oh, wait, you mean like during the vice presidential debate the other night,
yes,
when they talked about that they didn't say they were going to ban fracking when they said it like for months.
Well, did you watch the Democratic convention when they were all up there? All you got to do is just run that, and you'll see where they all stood.
Now, here's my favorite. My favorite is, remember when they were all running for president?
Right, that's what I'm talking about.
And Kamala Harris told Biden that he was a sexual assaulter. He was a racist.
A racist.
And now she's kissing his butt.
Yep.
What is that?
Oh, she's in the line to be
It's
president.
politics.
She's
That's
in line to
exactly
be president.
Biden's the easiest to replace. They know it. They know he's not going to make a term. He won't even make it till inauguration. Okay, and Harris just thinks she's going to step right in there and take over the presidency free and clear.
She's right.
So you explain to me, the majority of people, they got to see that. Now, I understand that there's some people there are,
Tunnel vision.
tunnel vision. They only see one thing. That's it. They like AOC because she's cute and she's funny. What's that going to do for me when it comes to doing some laws for the people?
She's an idiot.
What is that going to do for the rest of us?
Tell us how you feel, Fulton.
I just did, Rick.
It's insane.
It is crazy.
Billions and billions.
Billion.
of
He's still
dollars.
on the money. He's still on the money.
You can't,
Unbelievable.
all he can think about is the billions.
Unbelievable. Well, this has been going on for 100 years, man.
Both sides.
Yes. It's not going to stop.
But the bad thing why I mentioned about term limits, it's because it's not just one side; it's both sides. I mean, Republicans have their own skeletons.
You know what? That's a valid
in the
point, and
boxes.
that's why we love Trump. That's what makes
That's
Trump
a good point.
so
That's right. That's right.
important to us.
Exactly.
He is without a doubt the greatest president I will ever see in my lifetime.
Is he not bowing down to lobbyists? I heard he's not doing lobbyists. I heard he told all lobbyists to stay away from him. I'm not interested. Now I'm sure they're affecting the people around him, but I heard he's just not interested in any lobbyists and any of their ideas and any of their cash.
I definitely believe he is not being purchased or bought. There's not enough money.
That's good.
To
That's
buy
what I
him,
like about
okay?
him.
So with that being said, I'm definitely going to agree that he is not in with the lobbyists.
He is a phenomenon. He is not.
Yes.
He is not a politician. So they don't. People say, "Well, he's not presidential. He's not this. He's not that.
He's not a bureaucrat.
He is himself." Okay. He is what you see is what you get. If he's going to say, I'm going to do this, he's going to do that. He's for the people. He's for America. Okay. Now, they complain, well, he's a millionaire. Well, you know what? How about all the other people? They're not exactly poor,
None of them.
but
They're
that's
actually,
okay.
a lot of them are millionaires and they've been politicians.
That's right.
For
Yeah,
a generation.
for $100,000 a year salary. But when you think about this country, I can't even imagine what the budget is. $20 trillion a year. Or no, that's the deficit. But you need somebody who has that experience handling those type of numbers and understanding how the many different wheels work in an organization to make it productive. He's done that. He's played the game well on both sides, buying and selling. He's just a master of it.
The biggest difference, in my eyes, is he built stuff. He has built things, okay? He's an entrepreneur. He has built stuff that people need, people want, okay? And that's how he became a millionaire. What are most of the politicians in Washington have built? In my eyes, they are failed lawyers. They couldn't make it in the law firm, so they became politicians. They're a step below a lawyer. And I'm not speaking about all of them, but the majority of them are.
Many.
But
Most.
Trump built buildings. He built infrastructures. The guy he understands that, what it takes to build things. And that's what America is all about. If you are capable of building something that people want or people need, you're going to be an instant millionaire. Okay? That's the difference between Trump and some of these other people, in government.
And he's got decades of experience.
And he's ready, and he's more ready today than he was 10 years ago or 20 years ago. I mean, he was built for this. When he went and met with Kim, the North Korean dictator, I remember one of those reporters from the liberal media side saying, are you prepared for this? And he looked at him and said, yes, I'm prepared. I practiced every day of my life. I'm more prepared than anybody else out there could be. You know I'm prepared.
You know why he wanted to become president?
Let me hear it.
He told Biden the other night, He pointed at Biden with his finger. He said, "You're the reason why I'm having to do this. I did this because of you."
You know what?
He knew he knew how to protect the country.
He did. He went after Obama. That's where it all started.
Obama told him. He said, "There's one thing I got, Trump, that you will never have: presidency."
And it was that press.
That was at the correspondence dinner.
Correspondence
in
dinner.
Washington.
Yes.
I watched that, and without a doubt in my mind, without a bit of doubt, that was the time
that was it.
Trump
That was when the switch
decided
hit.
I saw
to
it.
run for president.
I saw it as well, and you could
Yes.
see it. You could see the wheels turning. He was furious.
upset.
He was upset, and he came out. That's when he went after Obama on the birth certificate.
That was
okay.
The birth certificate was before that. That's the reason why Obama went
did
after
it.
him.
I got you.
Yes.
Oh, got you.
Okay.
And that's where it started. And here's what I'll say about Trump. He's like an old dog on a bone. The more he gnaws, the sharper his teeth get. I mean, he is nonstop, and he's wearing it out like a pit bull.
I
and
think
those
he's
teeth
doing a
are
phenomenal
sharp.
job.
Now,
I mean,
did
he's from what we've seen just in the past two debates. The first one, everybody said he was so aggressive and bully, barely. The second one, he was even more calm. I mean, compared to what this guy could really roll off.
Now,
you know what I'm saying, Sal?
Yeah, he was
Sal, you know what I'm saying?
He
Now,
was cool,
did you guys check out 60 Minutes? Did you check out
I
the
heard
interview?
about it.
Only briefly.
Oh, wow, man. It was like Leslie Stahl. She was giving it back to him, and he was giving it back to her. And then finally he said, "I'm done. We're done here," and just walked off.
Yeah, and that's even calm for him. I mean, think about this cat, all right? Well, he really – come on now. You know what I'm saying? He would entertain us
I would enjoy it.
on a level that could not be recorded.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? I think he's doing pretty good.
He's doing phenomenal.
I think he's doing pretty good
great.
compared to what he's thinking.
Well, I mean, he's not presidential. I don't really care. That's doesn't do a thing for me.
No.
Sweet talk. I mean, Obama was the greatest at sweet talking people. You know,
Clinton was too.
So was Clinton. And didn't do nothing for this country, as far as I'm concerned.
They tell you what you want to hear and turn around and do the exact opposite.
Right.
And lie to your face. It's a shame.
Now, he would have done even more if he wasn't hampered by the House, which didn't want to pass anything. They didn't want to put anything forward. And what they did put forward was so absurd,
Yep.
so
Jump.
crazy, that you couldn't possibly do anything with it.
Now, in a perfect storm, it's going to go Republican for obviously the administration with Trump, but the House and the Senate. Could you imagine the next 2 years if Trump had Republican House and Senate? It would change
You can
the
get some
world.
stuff done,
He'd
son.
get it done.
You can get some stuff
He'd get
done.
a lot done. He had that in his first 2 years, and that's where my hope is, that he's going to have that opportunity to do it. And in 2 more years we'll be electing again in the House and Senate, and that's when you really have your large turnover on those people. So that kind of offsets the presidential election. So we could make it through the next 2 years for a hard run to give him a strong push on the way out for those last 2 years. That would be amazing. And this stock market is going to go through the roof.
Okay, so tell me this. Hypothetically speaking, Biden wins. What does the country look like a year from now? What does it look like a year from now, 2 years from now?
Taxes raised to the limit.
I don't know, but I might not.
Regulations.
Gas prices will be $4 to $6. Biden is going to shut down your fracking. He's going to shut down your fossil fuels. Okay, they are going to put a halt to it. That is going to be one of the things that is going to be a very slow bleed to the economy. The market will continue.
What are they going to do with this coronavirus?
They're going to shut everything down.
It's going to disappear once he wins.
Biden wins.
No,
if Biden wins,
there's going to be no coronavirus as far as they're concerned.
You know what? I think that won't be, because they're using it as, this is just my
so
opinion.
you think it's just a political tool?
There's obviously a coronavirus. I think it's not really. It could be considered just like a very, very strong flu.
Right.
Okay?
But what you're saying is
But-
they're really just using it as a political tool and not really a mass
Yeah, absolutely.
socialist agenda to shut the whole country down.
Yeah, because if they were really care about taking care of that, they would take care of the older people in a different way than they're doing now, and let the younger people go to work and let the kids go to school, because it's not affecting them in a sense that they're put themselves in a hospital, unless if you do have a real problem with your body, and then you have to be careful, But I mean, I know people that had it, and they're my age, and they're perfectly okay because they were healthy.
Yeah.
Here's what I don't like. I don't like hearing Biden say we're going to listen to the scientists. So while I will agree with the largest percentage of what you said there, I think that the Democrats have finally found a piece of mud that they can throw against the wall that's going to stick, because they're all about power. It's all about control and power. And if they can use this virus as a tool to control people in the United States, that's what they want. That's what they're going to do. So I see that they have found a golden nugget they didn't realize they had, and they're going to shine it up, and they're going to get as much value out of it as it will represent. And if they can control us, they're going to do it. And I believe that with the Democratic states and cities where the restaurants are still closed. New York City,
it's a shame.
You talk about all the good food in New York. Guess what? It's unfortunate, but a lot of that's not going to be there when this is over. It's just not coming back.
Yeah, a lot of people are fleeing.
Yes, and coming here.
Actually, a lot of them are going to Connecticut, believe it or not.
Okay.
Which it's
I don't know why, but okay.
Getting away from the city, I guess. I don't know. But yeah, the coronavirus, it's a problem. No question about it. People are dying. But I think it's just too political. It got
way too political.
Way too political. And it's both sides. And it is what it is. I mean, hopefully once the elections are over one way or the other, it will come down. Let the kids go to school, because you got to teach the kids. I mean, you're going to learn from home? Are you kidding me? Really? That's not going to work.
No.
As it is, we got kids that can't pass.
Yeah.
Hey, you know what? They might do better, because they don't seem to be doing as well. Some of them just don't learn at school. Maybe if they were at home, they could get some discipline. And I'm being very facetious here, okay? Let me be honest. But there's so many kids who don't get anything at home, and that includes
the problem,
food.
It's like somebody locking themselves in a basement and not having any contact with other people.
With the real
kids
world.
Kids need to be with other kids.
Interaction.
Kids need interaction.
Yes.
I mean, that's very important.
So does this economy. This economy is, you can't hold it back. It is a caged lion waiting to escape.
Yes.
And in just a matter of days, we have that opportunity to let the lion roar, to let him loose. And just let him go and hold on tight. Some horses you don't tame, you just run with them, okay? You don't break them.
That's what we're looking for.
That's what we want, and that's who he is. And we know it. And look at the different backgrounds we come from, but we still believe the same thing.
There's going to be a danger zone, no matter what, after the election. I mean, we already got cities burning. We already got looting. We already got
protesting.
There's going to be a danger zone happening, and it's going to be unfortunate for a lot of people.
This election will be protested, okay?
Yeah.
There's going to be challenges
in
areas, and it's going to be interesting to see that those challenging, where the votes get challenged are going to be where those numbers are needed the most. It's going to be in those pockets. But, we really have a handful of states that they feel will determine who's going to be the next president. It's Florida, Georgia, North Carolina, Pennsylvania, Ohio, Michigan, and Wisconsin. That's the states that really will determine which way it goes. Now, practically all of those lined up for Trump last time. I mean, he just blew the numbers, the electoral votes. He just blew it out of the water.
I think it's going to happen again. He might not get the popular vote, but he will win the election. And you're going to start hearing it all over again. Well, he didn't get the popular vote. But the problem, the Founding Fathers had a great vision when it came to that.
Absolutely.
Because you can't have just a popular vote, because then you're going to have just 3, maybe 4 states controlling the whole union.
Everything.
And what happens for the people that live in in the Dakota, or they live in these small states, they have no say. Somebody else is making the laws for them. In certain cases, the way it's set up, because states to a certain degree are able to govern themselves, it's good, because then you get the governors that they can, to a certain degree. But overall, they will have nothing to say when it comes to Washington.
Mm-hmm.
Correct. Agreed.
If they change that.
And
they should never change that.
The vision of the founding fathers to identify that the electoral college versus the public vote is brilliant. I mean, they knew when there were 13 states, they knew that New York was going to decide for everybody. And that's when they broke it up and gave each person their own point. So when the census comes by, I know everybody's like, oh, man, nobody lives here. We stay here part-time. It's all that. Nobody wants to deal with the census. But guess what? That is where the number comes from, and the voter registration of where the delegates, the electoral count
I'm glad
comes
you
from.
said that. I started one more knock from that census guy. But now I've had a change of heart.
It is important, because that they got to know where people, exactly where they live.
It's more important than we really give it credit for,
Right.
To be honest. And it can't.
I'm a skeptic, and I don't have much excitement in my life. So if I can imagine a conspiracy going on and somebody wondering how many people are in my house, I'd like to run with it for a little while. Especially if you're knocking on my door Saturday afternoon after I had a drink or two.
Oh, yeah. Dinner time,
Give
7 o'clock.
Give me some excitement.
Yeah.
But I appreciate you changing my perspective on that. Now I can understand what you're talking about and what they're talking about.
Good.
Yeah, that's good.
It's funny how much we learn as we grow older. It's
I'm growing up, but not older. Come on now.
just getting smarter, right?
I'm looking forward to the election.
Yes. You voting on election day?
Yep, standing in line.
I
Okay.
voted last Wednesday.
Congratulations.
Carolina Ferris, me and my wife, together.
Yes.
We do our thing together.
Yes.
All I can say is thank God my vote counts, because I live in South Carolina now. When I was living in Connecticut, I lost all the time, other than for the first selectman where I lived.
That's how it goes.
Yeah.
We actually
One of the most beautiful states as far as work availability, beauty, food, restaurants. I mean, Connecticut is just gorgeous.
My granddad was from Connecticut.
The politicians have ruined it. And it's been run by Democrats for such a long time. And I cringe every time I see those two idiots, senators from Connecticut, when they're up in Washington and they get in front of a mic. I'd like to throw my shoe through my TV, because I know a little bit about them. Okay?
seen it firsthand. Well, don't damage the shoes, Sal. Don't damage the shoes.
Did you hear through the grapevine? You dropping any lines or?
No, I give you an example. Senator Murphy, one of our fine senator from Connecticut. When he first ran for the Senate, he asked the police union to support him, and for some of them to speak on his behalf, and they did. I'm not going to get deeply into that, but they did. So he won. They supported him. We had that. I was still there when, unfortunately, that crazy kid wound up shooting up all those kids in school in Connecticut. That was really, really terrible. And again, it's not the gun; it's the people that not supposed to have them.
Agreed.
Okay, so we could have another session on that one. But so what happened? This guy, because during the time the Democratic Convention was going on, and they're against guns. They want to stop people from having guns, from having guns. Mr. Murphy sent out a message, a text message, that we got to take all the police officers out of schools because they're really a bad influence on our kids. It doesn't set a good example to have police officers in school because of BLM. They want to defund the police, this and that. Now, I get so upset at that. Okay, number one, you should have security in schools. Being police, but it should be somebody with armed. Because if there is somebody that has a weapon inside, some crazy person is going to think twice about going in there. All right. But my biggest problem with Mr. Murphy is that he asked for the police union for their help when he needed them. Okay? Now, all of a sudden, because of BLM and defund the police and all that, he turns around and he says that we got to take the police out of our schools because it's a bad influence on our kids and it doesn't set the right example. I mean, what is he talking about? Okay? That hits home with me.
Yeah.
Okay?
I can see why.
Well, somebody put him up to it. You know how it goes.
Yeah.
But he did it, like
lobbyists.
you said. He did it.
He bought in. He sold out. You know,
Right.
what was his price?
Fair enough.
Right.
He sold out.
Where's his pride as a person?
So many
As a
have,
man?
but so many have sold out. So many go in with the good purpose, but that's where Trump talked about draining the swamp when he first went in. We don't hear a lot of that term anymore. You know, the swamp is too deep. It's too stagnant. It's going to take more than just 4 years of one good president to drain the swamp. It's going to take a movement. It's going to take the United States deciding that they're tired of politicians doing what they're doing on both sides and in the middle. It doesn't matter who you are. But the United States, the voter, as you said in the beginning of the show, they decide. We pay them to do that job. We put them in that job, and they are supposed to work for us. But they reach a point to where they become larger than their self. They're bigger than the position, and all of a sudden now they're in control of us, and that's where we've ended up. And they've gotten rich doing it, and we have suffered because
And they're
of it.
just the puppets.
Yes,
They're just the puppets. It goes deeper than just the politicians.
The other governor from Connecticut, Blumenthal, okay, he was the Attorney General of Connecticut, and then he ran for governor, and he made statements which to the newspaper, you could Google it, that he was in Vietnam. He served one or two terms in Vietnam during the Vietnam War, and that he even did something about saving some soldiers and this and that. Well,
I remember that.
somebody that knew that he was lying, okay, they looked into it and they find out he was never in Vietnam.
Damn.
Never served there.
He got
Never.
called out.
You got to be an
Okay.
idiot. You have to
And
be an idiot.
False.
And-
Was that false valor?
No,
You
that-
got
Something
to
like
be
that?
an
Yeah.
idiot.
I mean, you're talking about the military, people that give their life, okay? And, you know, how do you do that? How do you
That's like
even go
some
there?
kind of kid thing.
Hold on, he's still at it. He's still.
But the thing that amazes me is the people of Connecticut voted this guy in
Yes.
knowing that he had lied. How about that? So if you lie about serving in the military, okay, where people have died on our behalf. Now, you could agree with the war in Vietnam or you could disagree with it. But, you know, I lost two of my good buddies over there. It wasn't their choice for them if they wanted to go or not, if they believe into the war or not. It wasn't a choice. It was something that you had to do, okay, or leave and go to Canada, okay? So this guy's got the gall to say, I was there. I served. I went to war. And the people voted for him. So when I used to be on Facebook, okay, I sent a message to the people of Connecticut. I says, are you proud of yourselves? This is for voting for this guy? This is what you got? Is this the best you could do?
Well, that's why they have no representation, because he is weak. He has failed himself. He's failed his state. He's failed the country that he works for. and you and I see it. Unfortunately, the people of Connecticut at the time of voting did not see it. And isn't it funny how short the memory is for a politician? A politician can make a mistake today, and if he's Democrat, it really doesn't matter what that mistake is made. Tomorrow, they're going to forgive him. If he's a Republican and and there's an accusation of a mistake, he doesn't even have to do it. He is death squad.
Even more important than Republican and Democrat. Sal, why'd you get off Facebook? What happened?
Tell the
What
truth.
happened?
Look at that. Look at that look.
I can tell you exactly why. Okay, because I ran across a photo on Facebook of. Do you remember when ISIS was beheading people?
I heard about it.
Okay, the only difference was they had red jumpsuit, orange jumpsuit, and they were kneeling. Well, I saw a picture of a police officer sitting in a chair, and somebody with a black hood cutting his throat off.
Oh.
So I complained to Facebook, and they came back and said that does not violate the rules of social media.
You know what? Good for you. And I think that when that was going on, that's where Facebook was at. They were wide open. They were running shotgun
It's still on there.
and doing. Oh wow!
Now you got to remember, it's not. It doesn't go against their rule. It goes against their rules as Facebook. They have fact checked me on something, and I knew that what I put down was correct, but they still said it wasn't. It's on their terms.
Yes.
And they blocked me for a week because
What?
Yes, there was some females. Nothing against females. I love females.
Hey, we got one sitting in the room now.
There was some females with bare bottoms, backwards, up against the fence with BLM written on their butts. So I says, well, they're all white. That's what white trash looks like. You know that they censored me because they said that was a hate speech?
Let me ask you this. I'm going to go back. Go ahead.
That's crazy.
I don't want to be on Facebook because I don't want to be part of the problem. I want to be part of the solution.
I'm with you, Sal. I'm with you. But I'm going to hit on something you said real quick. What happened to ISIS? What happened to ISIS? Where's ISIS at now? Trump eliminated. He annihilated.
No, the question is, who is ISIS?
Who? Exactly. What did Obama say? We can't get rid of them. We can only try to control them. They'll be here forever. Trump came in and said, that's garbage. Watch this. And he did it. And in a matter of, months? It was months. He was in 6 months, and he had rewritten half of what Obama had already done, appointed 150 judges, and eliminated ISIS, and started to build the wall on the southern border. He had put in your fossil fuel regulations had been released by the EPA, and this economy started to explode.
Well, it's almost 4 years now that he's been in power, correct?
Correct.
All right. Is there any more wars that have started in 4 years?
Hell no. You don't want to either.
Right.
He's not playing. That's how it's supposed to be.
And he's made not agreements, but he's getting along with foreign leaders.
And China.
He's communicating.
Look what he's done to China. Look what he has done to that lopsided trade agreement that we had
China
let
is
them
a
get
big
away
problem.
with. They are a big problem.
And they're
They're
always going to
huge.
be a big problem
Yes.
because of the cheap labor.
Yes, cheap labor.
Because they have no control.
It's a communist country.
As far as the people, people rights and all that.
They have, 3.5 billion people?
And it's always going to be a problem.
And that's who they count. So they've got the money, they've got the people, and it looks like that's about all we got time for.
Yeah, hey, we're getting cut off.
We're getting cut off. Too good. Sal, you're too entertaining. My friend, you're too entertaining. We could keep going.
Hey, Sal, it's been a pleasure having you today.
Well, thank you for having me.
I'm sure
It's been nice.
Great.
When we do this
it's
again,
an-
we're going to start with China being a problem.
Definitely an experience on my part, and I thank you for giving me the opportunity.
I expect we'll do it again. Fulton, it's been a pleasure
Dr.
talking
Scott,
to you again.
thank you, my brother.
Rick Roberts,
Thank you.
Always a pleasure, Doc.
it's been a pleasure. And hey,
Thank you, Ray.
We'll see you next time.
Thank you, Doc.
Yes, sir.
Thank you for everything, actually.
You're welcome.
I feel like a new man.
Good.